In the end of verse 12, it says, he went to the city of David with gladness. And so it was, when those bearing the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatted sheep. Then David danced before the Lord. Now we're shifting here because there's a different kind of understanding. We sometimes don't understand what God does, what God is doing, or why he doesn't allow something or allow something, or whatever it might be. But this now is misunderstanding between people, conflict between people. In this case, it has to do with a husband and wife, David and his wife. How do you pronounce that? Michal? She had a disagreement about David's actions. She didn't believe, or she didn't embrace David's actions, King David's actions. It says in verse 14 that David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was wearing a linen ephod. So, all his might. What does that mean? He was dancing before the Lord with all his might. With every expression he could muster, he was dancing before the Lord. Remember, he had come from a place of wanting to bring the ark of the Lord to the city of David, but then he was smacked in the face with this severity of God. And so there was separation from his intent. And then he learned about God's goodness. And so then he joins himself again to the idea of bringing the ark of the Lord to the city of David. And now he's worshiping God, sacrificing to God. He's celebrating correctly. Well, kind of correctly. Because celebration is essentially in the heart of the person. So, in this particular case, his wife is observing him. David was dancing with all of his might. And Michal was looking at him and going, I don't like what you're doing. I wouldn't do that. I don't think other people would do that. And so, well, let's read on in the story. It says, So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. Now as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and whirling before the Lord. And she, the word, despised him in her heart. I want you to notice the 2 sides of the coin, the 2 things that are occurring. One person is praising, leaping for the Lord, dancing before the Lord with all their might, celebrating with joy, and the other person's going, right? Not happy. Michal looks through the lattice, the curtain, and despises him. Now, she has her reasons. Maybe it would seem merited. It says in verse 17, So they brought the ark of the Lord and set it in its place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had erected for it. Then David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. What's he doing? Worshiping. Sacrificing to the Lord. His heart is in the right place. When David had finished offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, what did he do? He blessed the people in the name of the Lord. So what's coming from him is right. What's coming from him is good. What's coming from him has a positive impact on the people. Then he distributed among all the people, among the whole multitude of Israel, both women and men, to everyone a loaf of bread, a piece of meat, and a cake of raisins, So all the people departed, everyone to his house, or to their house. Celebration, provision. It was a great day. Until he got home. Then David returned to bless his what? Household. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David. So what's he bringing to his household? Blessing. It's an extension of what he has experienced in worshiping God as a man who had difficulty with God, but now he's doing better and he's feeling better about the Lord. He's coming even to bless his own household, but there to meet him. Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today! You were really something." Uncovering himself today in the eyes of the maids of his servants, as one of the base fellows shamefully uncovers himself. We could say that perhaps there was fault. Perhaps there was error, because, you know, the Bible talks about modesty. So we understand that. But he wore a linen ephod and he danced and he worshiped before the Lord. And I don't know if there was a glimpse of impropriety or if you were really watching, whether there was something troubling. Apparently there was to her. No one else seemed to notice. His response was, verse 21, so David said to Michal, "It was before the Lord who chose me instead of your father and all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore, I will play music before the Lord." Now he has maybe the right, the prerogative, the privilege that some of us don't have. The one advantage that he has is he's the king. That's an advantage. Because if you're the king, you can do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter. But the wife said, "You're like one of the base fellows." In other words, no good fellows. He said, "I was doing this before the Lord, and I will play before the Lord." Our worship should not be hindered. Our praise should not be hindered. It may be misunderstood, but his determination was to worship God. Sometimes people are sincere in what they do, but we can misunderstand them.